Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. This is my March planners and journals update. I think I have quite a few things to talk about, and if you have been watching my planner updates for a while, you probably already see something a little bit different. Two quick things to preface. Please do excuse my nails. I am trying to take a break from getting them done, so we are stuck with this for a while. And also, I just came back from the gym 5 minutes ago, so I might be a little bit out of breath. Okay, let's get started with my reading journal. So I will try to insert a picture of what my reading journal looked like for the past 2 years. But basically, there was an area on the top right corner. I still have trouble telling my lefts from my rights, but yeah, on the top right corner there was an empty space, and I think I set this up in 2024, and literally for the past 2 years I kept saying I will finish decorating the cover when I have some time, and 2 years have passed. I don't know why. This morning I woke up and I just felt like finishing this once and for all. I will also insert a TikTok video of me doing it. I first took a wipe to clean off the surface because there were a lot of ink stains on there, and then I just picked out a few more vinyls. I put down some of these little stickers, and I also just took a Sharpie to doodle all of these sparkles. I am still iffy about it, but I think over time I will grow to like it. I'm just glad that I actually finished decorating the cover. But anyways, let's move into the actual books. Okay, so I did finish two things in March, and I started a few things. So I think I wrote some things for the Book of Disquiet. Still reading this book, going on 20 months at this point. And then I did finish reading Three Men in a Boat, but I haven't finished filling out this page yet. I do have all of my notes typed out in Google Docs, but again, I just haven't finished writing everything. I also haven't filled out these stars. I believe I gave this 4 stars on Goodreads, but in my head, it's more so 3.5 stars. So I'm gonna fill that out. And then I also finished reading The Serviceberry. This was a very short read, I think about 100 pages. So again, this was a really short read, and I found it to be very heartwarming. It made me really reflect on my community, my role in the community, and how much I am giving back to the people around me and the world. My only pointer is that I found some parts to be a little bit too repetitive, but I again really did enjoy it, and I would probably reread it again in the future. This is out of sequential order, but I just put this here because this was an empty page and I didn't want to waste it. So then we skip to here. I ran out of the little stickers, so I just used one of the stamps. I need to get a better black ink pad. Anyways, I also haven't doodled in the cover yet, but I started reading The Magus this month, and this is a book that my boyfriend and I were reading together. I am, however, reading this separately as well because it just takes me a very long time to process everything that I read and parse each sentence. Anyways, so far I'm loving it, and I decided to be a little bit boring, and I'm just using a black ink to write all of the text. But yeah, I would say March was a pretty decent reading month, especially given that I had the anniversary sale going on and so many other things. And also, I forgot to mention, this ink, this yellow ink, is the Sailor, sorry, I just went to grab it, Sailor Nagoya Kinshachi. I think I mentioned this in my February update, and I wasn't too sure whether this was my perfect yellow at that point. So I inked it up in my Lamy Safari. This is the medium nib, and don't hate me, but I'm honestly still not sure if this is my perfect yellow. I do find Lamy Safaris to be quite dry, so I do love this color, but I had a hard time writing with it. So I want to ink it up in another pen and see whether that's a little bit better. That was my reading journal. I spent quite a bit of time on that. Next up is my Commonplace journal, and I think I have 2 or 3 entries in here. Let's see. I think this was from February. Okay, this was in March. Okay, so these were some notes about treadmill, motors, and stuff. My first walking pad lasted about 2 years. My second walking pad lasted maybe 4 months. And I did get a third one, but I was like, I want to ensure that this one lasts. That is why I looked into treadmill motors. This was written with my Sailor Pro Gear medium nib and my murky pond water ink. I find this ink to show up very dark in my Leuchtturm paper and much lighter in my Hobonichi Cousin, which I will show later. So yes, after looking into treadmill motors, I then kind of went down the path of looking into some physics stuff like torque. And then I just started doing some probably like basic high school physics review. And here I said I really wanted to keep reading about it, but I had to get back to work. So that was really random. This was also a very random snippet of notes, which I didn't even put a title for. These were some notes about frequencies to do with like routers and Wi-Fi and stuff. Yeah, okay. And then these were some notes about 3D printing. I'm not looking to get a 3D printer or to get anything 3D printed, but I just realized that I didn't know much about 3D printers, so I started looking into that. I really like this fun diagram that I drew for formative manufacturing. Okay, I think this is the last bit. Yeah. So these were some notes about Japanese cuisine and dinnerware. I accidentally broke one of my plates and my friend broke one of my bowls. So yeah, I'm looking to get some new plates and bowls at some point. And for some reason, I just went down this rabbit hole of looking at different Japanese dinnerware. A little water smudge over there. So yes, I actually wrote a lot more in my Commonplace journal than I thought. So yeah, that is everything. Next is my Hobonichi Weeks, which is my health and fitness record keeper. And you will see that the weekly pages are a complete mess, but at least this habit tracker looks pretty consistent. At the top, I'm just writing down my monthly steps average, and then here I'm just plotting the average on a graph. I think the only notable thing is that I got sick towards the end of March, so to kind of indicate that that is a reason why I didn't work out for so many days, I took a red gel pen and drew a bar. This is the ᴘᴏᴅᴜᴜᴜ Vintage Red. I forgot the name. Maybe it's like Bordeaux. I used red to indicate when I get sick, and then this black is for when I travel. All right, then moving on to the weekly pages. So yes, this entire week I was sick and I really like forced myself to just not do anything. And I don't know, instead of like setting all of this up and have everything just be empty, I feel like that would make me kind of guilty and upset to see that. So I just kind of took this empty page as a free space and put down some stickers, made it really colorful, and I just wrote some notes. Proud of myself for not pushing through sickness, because a year ago I probably would have done that. Proud of myself for sleeping and napping when it was needed. Not so proud for almost crying due to my pent-up anxiety and energy from not exercising. The illness is going into next week, I think. I need to continue resting. So yeah, this is just an idea for you if you end up going through something similar. I was also sick the first part of this week, and again, instead of just like leaving it empty and making myself feel guilty, I took some vellum paper and cut it up to kind of redact the few days. I also used a matching marker and kind of shaded in the first 3 days of the habit tracker, so again, I wouldn't feel guilty seeing like the blank space. All right, so there is that. The next week, I use the emojis in British Columbia washi. This is a regular 1-inch washi, but I just used little scissors and cut out around the mountains and forest. I kind of made it like a DIY die cut washi, which I think looks really cool. So I had this like 1 week of being on routine, and then the next week, I don't like this spread very much. I don't typically use fountain pens in my Hobonichi Weeks. And I also feel like the color palette doesn't look too great, but it is what it is. Anyways, this was another out of routine week because I had a visitor in town, so I didn't want to like ditch them and work out. So most days I think I just did a little jog, and I went to the gym for cardio a few times, but that is that. And then the next week, back to routine. I'm using some like leftover stickers, which is why it looks a little bit messy, but I really like this yellow and green color combo. Really nice for spring. And then this is this current week. I don't know why I keep trying to use fountain pens in my Hobonichi Weeks, even though I know that I don't like it. Here I'm using the Pilot Custom 74 in a fine nib, and also the Murky Pond Water ink. And again, I feel like the Murky Pond Water ink shows up really dark in my Leuchtturm and my Hobonichi Weeks, but a lot lighter in my Hobonichi Cousin. So yes, that is all. I still have to fill out my workout for today. Last but not least, I have my Hobonichi Cousin, starting with the monthly section. This will be really quick, so I will just flip through everything up until April. Very colorful. I loved working with this colorful crafts theme. And this is April. I was also looking forward to working with this lavenders and lemons theme. Let's see. It is a new quarter, so we have this new quarter label. At the end of this month, I will be going to Chicago again to visit my friend, but also I will be attending the Chicago Pen Show. I have a few birthdays, and yeah, I think that's it. All right, daily pages. Oh wait, weekly pages. I am all over the place. All right, so March 1st didn't start off very strong. As you can see, Sunday was completely empty. Oh yes, okay, that makes sense. I was sick this week, so that is why I think this looks a little bit messy. And as you can see, I knocked out pretty early for a few of the days. Then this was my 10-year shop anniversary week. The actual anniversary was on the 5th, and we celebrated on the 7th. So yeah, it was very much unideal that I was sick leading up to that, because I had so much prep work to do, but we got it done. Hello again. It is a few hours later. Somebody called me and I got distracted, so here we are. I can't quite remember what I last talked about. Probably just that this is my anniversary week, and my Saturday was mostly empty because I was basically just replying to emails all day. These are some fun city stickers. I don't know which city this is modeled after. It looks really familiar. Maybe Italy. I think this is a really cool color palette, so I pulled in this like nice red, this tan, and this like minty blue color. And I used this because my friend Diana, she visited me on Wednesday. We went to a few cafes. I took her around my area, and then we had Korean food for dinner. This was a really social week. I think either on Friday or Saturday, I had a feeling that my friend was planning a surprise visit because they said something that was kind of out of character. And so yeah, on Friday, I got confirmation that they indeed were planning to visit me. So yes, they arrived Saturday evening, and then basically for the next 9 days, they stayed at my place, and it was a lot of fun. So we had board game night. Whoops. This was the next week. I'm using the Q1 subscription theme, which is Sparkly Clean. This is due to ship out next month, so I'm really excited for some of you to receive this in the mail. But yeah, even though I had my friend visiting me, I still had, my planned work to do. So I mostly did my workouts and my work in the morning, a lot of designing, and then typically in the afternoon and evening we would do something. So Monday we went to Vancouver. Tuesday and Wednesday I think we just played board games. Thursday we did an escape room, which was my first one, and it was really fun. Vancouver is known for having really, really good sushi, so I think we had sushi like 4 or 5 times. No complaints though, love sushi. And then this was the next week. They flew back on the 23rd, and I used this set of springtime stickers. I love these colors so much. It's not like super pastel, but it still reminds me of spring. But yeah, because I had like a pretty inconsistent week and a half, I would say, and then before that I had another week of being sick, I was in like lock-in mode this week, and I really needed to catch up on some design work and stuff. This year, I'm really trying to stay disciplined with following my design schedule and ensuring that I don't fall too far behind. On the 28th, I was very proud of myself. So the 28th was a really weird day, as you can see. I wasn't really feeling like myself and honestly just like kind of in my head. But yeah, for the rest of the day and the evening, I basically worked on a Python code. It was to automate something to do with imports and shipping. And I was very proud of myself because I basically learned how to use this package and code this program, or script rather, within an afternoon and evening. And I also ordered sushi at some point again. I am not a very computer techie person, so even though it is probably like a very poorly written code and probably like really simple, I was and I'm still very proud of myself. Okay, and then this week. I'm once again using I can't find my pen, but yeah, I'm using the Pilot Custom 74 and the Murky Pond Water ink. And I don't know if you can tell, like just the difference between the Hobonichi Cousin and the Hobonichi Weeks. This was written with the same pen and same ink. It is a lot darker and more bold in the Weeks, and a little lighter and thinner in the Cousin. I thought this went really well with this set of washi stickers. I am running a little bit behind today, so I haven't filled out today yet. But yeah, those were all of my weekly spreads. Now moving on to the daily section. Starting off very colorful, bright pink, orange, green, blue. I think I was still sick here, so that is why I did this morning, afternoon part 2, and evening layout instead of my usual to-do list. And I really like how I did the little washi tapes at the top. I think this is when I announced the Robert Oster collaboration for Murky Pond Water. So this is a little swatch thing that I made. And here I wrote, "Final rot day, I swear." Yeah, I was just feeling really guilty and sluggish for just like not really doing anything for the past week and a half. In my head, I knew that like it was fine because I really did need the rest, but the brain can be funny. March 5th was the 10-year anniversary, and I didn't do anything special, but yeah, I just try to have a nice day and do some of the things that I love and kind of reminisce about the past 10 years. Here I wrote, "My life is a contradiction." I'm not going to read into why I thought that. Okay, and then the 7th was the anniversary sale. And again, like with the sales, I typically just reply to emails and social media comments all day. So I didn't have much of a to-do list, but I did start off the day with a little bit. And I think this is really fun. So for the anniversary, I released these sticky notes, and this is the negative neutrals version. I also have a positive pastels version, but yeah, I basically use them to make little timestamps and journal whatever is happening throughout the day. And I also just use pencil to section off each journaling segment. And I think this is just a really fun layout idea if you just don't really have a need for a to-do list. Oh, and we also had a spring forward on this day, so we quote-unquote lost an hour of sleep, and I was like, do I look like someone who can afford to lose another hour of sleep? But yeah, it's actually pretty cool because British Columbia, I think, is making this spring forward permanent. So we aren't gonna do another fall backwards later this year. So yeah, I am happy about that, so I don't have to do so many time adjustments. I think I was having a rough few days, so that is why I ripped this page out. I completely forgot this happened, oh my goodness. I cut out the headers and just like pasted it all on a single day. So this is a spread of 3 days on one page. And this is also when my friend Diana visited me. So she brought me some ink samples, and I love these colors so much. Journaled about our time, and then this is the one time I felt like sushi didn't hit the spot. Yeah, I don't know. March was a very weird month mentally. Good afternoon. Today I'm struggling with the conflicting thoughts of I should give myself grace versus I should be on top of it all, and anything less than perfect is a failure. March 14th was Pi Day, and I was doing some panic cleaning because, again, my friend surprise visited me, but not so much a surprise because I kind of found out the day before. So because the time that my friend was here was out of routine, I did the whole Dutch store thing, and I made a whole video about it, and I promised that I would show the final thing. So I made the sidebar kind of like a recap and overspill section of anything that I couldn't fit on the daily section. So things like the movies we watched, the games we played, and kind of like how I felt at the beginning and end of this week. And then I put my to-do list on the bottom over here. Sunday, I think we just stayed in. Monday, we went to Vancouver and did like a coffee crawl. This was one of the stickers from the cafes. This is when I swatched the Sailor ink that I was talking about earlier. And I burned myself a few times this week. I was doing a lot of baking and I kept touching the pan, which was not very smart. I really like the color palette and theme of this week. Oh, and also the washi tape. So I have it on the 18th, but I ripped the rest and put it on the sidebar. So it looks like it's continuous. I thought that was a cool detail. Thursday, we went to another cafe. We went to Daiso. Friday, I was feeling low energy, and I also realized that I wasn't as on top of my vitamin D supplements. So I made this fun doodle that says, "Give me all the vitamin D." Saturday, we finally got some sun, which I was really excited about. And this was our last full day together. Very fun week. All right, so back to routine. I wasn't consistently going to the gym, so I definitely felt like I lost some strength, which made me kind of upset. Here I wrote, "Excuse me," because, oh right, I was running back from the gym, and from like a block away, I saw the mailman standing at my door, and presumably he already rang the doorbell and he was waiting for me. And I knew that this particular parcel required a payment, so I just like booked it. I sprinted towards my house, and when I saw that he turned away, I was like, "Excuse me," and thankfully I was able to catch him before he left. Otherwise, I would have to make a trip to the post office to pick it up. Wednesday was a very busy day. Busy. I think around this time and through now, actually, I've just been feeling really fatigued. I've been going to sleep decently early, I would say, and I'm also waking up later than usual, but for some reason, I just have no energy. So yeah, that is what prompted this doodle. And here I had a fun idea to do some daisy doodles in this like patch. This is my jet pens haul. I actually received this parcel a few days prior, but I just hadn't had the time to open it up. And I might be filming a belated haul for YouTube. I don't know, we'll see. So part of this jet pens haul is a set of new Mildliners. This actually came out in 2025, but as soon as I saw it, I knew I love these colors, but I was like, I did not need more markers. So I held off on purchasing, but I actually placed this jet pens order because my lovely friend Nia, she sent me a gift card to jet pens. So I decided to treat myself to this set, and I adore it so much. Like, this is totally my style. So yes, please do excuse me because I'm gonna be using this quite a bit for the next little while. Any problem? The solution is to order sushi. This is the spring bookshelf washi, and I pulled a bunch of colors from this. If you watched my previous video, which was an April Fool's video, you probably recognize part of this, but yeah, my best friend, she just came back from Germany. She left a year ago, and this is her first time being back in Vancouver since then. So I was really excited, and we met up with her and her brother and just basically caught up for the entire afternoon. And oof, ended off on a not so strong note. Didn't even write down the headers, but yeah, this is April 31st. Let's move on to the back of my Hobonichi Cousin. These are my product empties. I think I last made this entry. In the month of March, I finished 2 things. One is a squeeze tube of the Kewpie Mayo and also a tube of the Shiseido Sun Lotion. I think apart from that, I will just share the planner weight tracker. So my planner only gained 3 grams in the past month, and I think that is mostly due to this week in which I cut out so much. And I guess like the things I pasted in wasn't that heavy. All right, I think that is all I have to say for this planner update. I think this was a really healthy update. I had good progress in my reading journal, and my Commonplace Hobonichi Weeks was a little bit messy, but I think I had some fun spreads in the Hobonichi Cousin. So yeah, thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a wonderful April. Take care and goodbye.